Hey everyone, I'm Zenbig, this is Auto Group, and this is the 2020 Toyota Corolla Hybrid Sedan. So this is the brand new looking Toyota Corolla that they totally, claim to have redesigned, and it is now on the same platform as that Corolla hatchback, I'm pretty sure, because obviously the interior is exactly the same almost. And it looks pretty similar to the way the hatchback looks. Obviously the layout from the side is totally different, but you get the point. From the front, it looks quite similar to the hatchback, and I think it looks better than the hatchback, especially in the SE trim. You got a more aggressive front grille, and it's a little tighter and a little bit more bulky and stuff, which makes it look really cool. And I love this color. I forgot the name, but it's some really cool gray. It's called something gray, and it's pretty cool. I really like it. And this car has pretty nice looking wheels too. And this is the first ever hybrid Corolla, which is insane because this is honestly a very good ideal purchase for people who want just an economy car with really good gas mileage, and that are, it's just like a little car that you can drive around in. It's a very nice commuter car. And of course then it has the CVT transmission with the first launch gear, the real first gear, and then it changes the ratios of the CVT to make it feel like, a normal transmission. But in the rear, I think it looks really good. And compared to the hatchback, I think it looks a little better because it's a little less bulbous in the rear. And obviously, I don't know, I prefer this type of design, but a lot of people prefer the hatchback. It doesn't matter, it's the same car. This car is about $24,000 because this is the hybrid trim, and of course you got some extra money on that. So let's go ahead and look at the interior, because I think it looks really good inside, especially since it's the same as the hatchback. So in the interior, as you can tell, the gas powered, of course, that gas, and as you can tell, the engine just turned on because we were running low on the electric motor power, and now it shows over here. Wow, that's super cool. It shows engines it's charging up the battery, and then it shows like a little wheel, and then that's pretty cool. It's a nice display. But since this is like one of the more fully loaded Camry models, it has the super cool tachometer, which is all digital. Almost all of it. Some of the needles are real on the side, but as you can see, it is totally digital. And the drive mode select is pretty strange because you click, it changes to eco, and then it changes to normal, but it doesn't really say normal, and then it changes to power, which is more of their sport mode. Now the engine turned off again, just hybrid doing its thing. And I think the dashboard's materials are pretty decent. Wow, I'm very impressed that they're soft touch all the way up here. That's really good. And the seats are cloth, but they look nice and sporty. They have a little pattern on them too. They even tried to make it a little like a leather type look on the A-pillar. Inside it has this like grain to make it not look super, clothy, and which is really cool. I appreciate how they're really doing things to make it look, nice and well built and have some quality to it, like this little baggy thing for the shifter. And the steering wheel obviously is still not the leather one like you get in the Corolla SE, I'm pretty sure. It's still pretty good, and I guess we'll go on the drive once I sit behind myself. And these are manual seats, so if I were to sit comfortably behind myself, I would probably just do this, and I think I'm good. I'm like 6'2", 6'3", and now let's see how I fit in the back. Okay, I think it has a little bit more room than the hatchback, which I did not attempt to get into. I never tried to get into the hatchback because obviously I knew it wasn't gonna work. And as you can see, with my one leg in, I have a little bit of room, but it's kind of a rainy day and I don't want to mess up their scuff plate, so I'm not gonna put my other foot in. But I think it's doable for a little bit for a person of my height. But honestly, if someone's up front is sitting like they're 5'8" or an average height, then you should be able to sit much more comfortably. So I think this is a pretty nice little roomy car that you could drive around in, and it starts pretty cheap too, under like 20,000. So this is pretty good. I think we should go on the drive. This is a CVT front wheel drive, 1.8 cylinder, hybrid 4-cylinder, so it should be pretty interesting to drive. On it. Okay, so we totally forgot, before we go on the drive, let's just show you the trunk space real quick. You get this really cool Corolla mat, and this is honestly a lot of space. I was not expecting this, and it's way more than the hatchback, which I personally think this is the better way to go if you want more space. The Corolla hatchback is very small, especially compared to its rivals. So this honestly gets the job done much better in terms of the trunk space, is what I was trying to say until I messed up. Okay, anyways, Okay, so here we are driving the Corolla Sedan Hybrid, the first hybrid Corolla. And initial impressions when I was bringing this car over to review it, the thing I noticed is that it honestly did not feel in its normal mode when driving it the way the hatchback felt. You know, obviously this is the hybrid, but I'm not talking power-wise because it's adequate, right? In these cars, however much power they make, all the way from, like, I think the lowest one is like 130 horsepower or something to 170 horsepower for the gas, the SE one. But I think that this has more of a old school feel in normal mode, where it just feels more, you know, just super relaxed, not much throttle response, not much steering response either, which I was very surprised with, because I remember the Corolla hatchback having a more just sporty feel. And the other thing is that what I also noticed is that because of obviously the CVT and the hybrid setup, the engine is pretty extra drony and loud. But if we were to talk about the suspension, it does not feel like the way the hatchback suspension did. This one feels more like I'm not trying to be engaged in it, because it's not doing what the hatchback was doing in terms of control, but I'm kind of more on my, you know, I have to be more aware, because it's a little like wobbly, to be honest. It's not exactly controlled and contained. And right now we are in its power setting because I wanted to see how it handles in this mode. And it has, you know, decent acceleration. I was expecting something like this because, you know, it is a low power hybrid car, and it gets the job done, you know, decently well. Okay, maybe not big root, I don't know, at one point it kind of gets pretty lazy, but this is the hybrid one. Now if you want the more responsive one, you should obviously get the gas engine one, but I think this does totally fine, especially if you're climbing onto the highway. You'll be able to get where you want. What the heck was that? Some people, they don't deserve to drive the cars that they're driving. That X3 just cut in front of me pretty bad. Honestly, they should probably get a hybrid Corolla. But in power mode, the response is decent, but if we were to change it to Eco, the engine should turn off more, and the steering got lighter. So that was one thing about the power. Look at that. Okay, the engine still turned on in Eco. Man, honestly, this hybrid stuff is kind of confusing when these things turn on and off, especially when you're driving. You don't obviously get the most linear experience. But the other thing besides that is the fact that, I mean, this is a pretty good commuter car, and it's in some ways quite better than what I expected the Corolla Sedan hybrid thing to be. You know, I like the fact that they finally have a hybrid car, and that it's not that expensive either. $24,000 for a hybrid, small little zippy car. Not zippy, but you get the point. You know, like a little commuter car that you could take here and there is pretty good. And this does not, the hybrid at least, does not have a more sportier driving experience like the hatchback CVT did, because I do not see any paddle shifters, and there's not a manual shifting mode at all, you know. So it's kind of more of the eco-friendly version of the Corolla, which is fine. And besides that, I mean, the sloppy suspension tuning that they have, which is very old school, is about what I did not expect in this car, but about what you would expect from a decent, kind of comfortable, you know, luxurious almost little commuter car. So the ride quality of this car is very impressive for a normal open road when you're driving, not doing anything, any sort of thing sporty. But when I drove the Corolla hatchback, this exact turn we took, and I was so confident in taking the turn, and it was so fast and so sharp that the chassis could handle it and the back tires couldn't handle it, and they kind of stepped out, which was so fun for me, because I was like, wow, you know, like a little front wheel drive 170 horsepower zippy car was doing a lot of fun things. This car is a very different driving experience than the hatchback, which is not what I expected for the hybrid. That's what I can say as of the hybrid's driving experience, but it all depends on what you're looking for out of your Corolla, because now, luckily, you could choose between what kind of Corolla you want. Now you could get a sporty one, you could get a eco-friendly one like this one, you could get a mid-grade one, anything that suits your preference, and it's not that expensive. the thing is, the engine is pretty loud, which is something I've noticed throughout the entire range of these Corollas, that they are pretty loud. They're 4-cylinders, and I think this car is pretty good. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the driving experience. Special thanks to Ali Qureshi at Lombard Toyota for providing this vehicle, and thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Auto Group. This is our first actual new review after like a month of not uploading, but the last one you saw was the Tacoma TRD, and then we have a couple other ones, but this is probably the first one out of those. The reason is because it's a more fresh car. I just wanted to review this one because it's a pretty hot new car from Toyota. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe for weekly videos, I guess. Can we even say weekly videos anymore? Some occasional videos that'll be really good, hopefully. And we'll see you guys in the next one.